This happened on the Toshi Nungwa stretch. You can see the building. The roof of the building went off due to the wind from the rain. Yes, it landed on 2 cars. You can see 1 car under the roof in there. Yeah? It's very, very serious. Very, very serious. So those using the Toshi Nungwa stretch, and you are one, you slow down. Because this is what is happening right now. There causes a lot of traffic on the road. Yes, the roofing of that building. You can see 1 car over there. Currently, they are trying to rescue some people from the car. Yeah, people are trapped under it. Yeah, it has caused a lot.
Wow, and we just saw that video, and obviously it's because of the rains. Well, as we navigate through this unpredictable season, and obviously we can see that the weather is also becoming a potential hazard, it's actually very important for us to know how to stay informed and prepared, and also to keep safe. So in the studio with us is ADO1, Alex Kingnate, who is the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, and we are going to be looking at some of those ways to protect ourselves and stay informed and prepared during this season. Hello, sir.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's always nice to have you in our studio. It's just that today we are not going to do any practice.
See you.
We are not quenching fire.
Yeah, we're not quenching fires today. But yeah, we just watched the video, and it's quite unfortunate, and I'm sorry to whoever that owned that car. That's actually a big loss, especially in this economy. Yeah. So, and when you were coming, I'm sure it was raining.
Yes.
Oh, it has stopped?
No, okay, it's still drizzling.
It's still drizzling right now.
The early parts of this morning, we saw a very crazy rain with lightning, which then, I won't be surprised if there'll be some fire calls after the lightning, because, you know, lightning is a form of electrical energy.
Right.
And so once the lightning comes, it probably affects your house.
Right.
If you don't have a good earthing system or a lightning arrestor, it brings excess electricity into your house, which can then overload your sockets or overload your appliances and start a fire.
Wow.
That's a lot to carry this morning.
Yes.
So wait, are you telling us, but like us right now, since I don't know how the earthing system is in the house, so does that mean when the rain starts falling, I should just go and put off everything?
Yes, ideally, you know, your air condition, your TV sets, you know, because then lightning can, you know, because obviously too much of everything is bad. And just like when the light goes off and it's coming back on, it comes with a certain force. So that's why it's important that you put off your fridge, your air condition, probably your TV, so that, you know, the force that comes with it doesn't affect your stuff. So probably after the light comes on, you wait for like some 5 minutes before you put on your appliances, so that by that time the current would have subsided or would have normalized for you to be able to start using appliances.
Now, talking about lightning, water, and thunder strikes and all that, how can people put in safety measures to make sure that these things do not happen?
Well, at home, try to get a qualified electrician to run a periodic audit of your electrical installations at home. So you have to let him check your earthen wire. Most of the time, the homes that are over 10, 15 years, it's very important that you get the electrician to, run an audit on your electrical appliances to be sure that everything is in good form. You know, if the house is probably over 15, 20 years old, the wiring was not done to accommodate heavy load appliances like air conditioners or deep freezers. At that time, you only have one black and white TV, you know, and the ceiling fan. But then you see most of these old houses, and almost every room has air conditioning. That's very bad, because then all the load on this old building will not be able to contain the kind of the electrical system cannot be able to contain the load that these air conditioners present, and then could start a fire.
Right, but how many times does one need to do this audit in a year?
In a year, if you can, once or twice in a year.
Okay.
Once or twice in a year. Because then you see, when fire starts, the way people will always say they didn't see the fire starting. That's because the wiring is done in the wall. So when there's overheating of the electrical cable or the circuits, you don't really see it. You know, so it's what we call smoldering. So it starts burning or smoking gradually, then it catches up, and then probably when you're not around or when you're sleeping, it fully develops into a fire and catches up through the roof. You know, so that's why it's important. Most of the time, the trunking system is even the best. You know, when the trunking is done, but people say it doesn't make the house
Yes,
nice.
it's old-fashioned.
Exactly, but then ideally that's the best, so that when there's fire starting anywhere, you're able to identify where the fire is starting from and tackle it from there. But when it's inside the wall, you don't see where the fire is starting from for you to be able to tackle it.
Right. We actually have a rep from the Ghana Meteorological Agency on the phone right now with us, and he's going to be joining us in this conversation. So it's hello.
So we've lost him.
Okay.
So maybe when we reconnect to him, we'll speak to him and then take his thoughts on some of the issues. Now, many a times when it's about to rain, we never really prepare for the rainy season. We are here and then he meets us. And when he meets us, lots of disasters happen. As the video we saw, in a situation like this, where the roof has come off. This is a roof of a story building, a whole story building. And when I watched the video, it didn't look as though the building was just being roofed, and when the rains were coming down, the workers needed to leave it. So in situations like this, what happens, or who is responsible for this?
You see, so it's about getting the right people to do the right job. Okay, I can't question the people that did the roofing, but I don't know if probably they are now roofed and we're trying to fasten it. But in that, because you realize that it didn't come off with some of the blocks, so it looks like it was just resting on, waiting to be probably fastened. What the ideal thing to have done in a situation like this was to probably take it gradually. You know, probably fasten the metal trustings, make sure that they are firmly fit before you even put the roofing sheets on them. There are other ways to make sure that these roofing, because even if you watch the video, you realize that the top of the last floor doesn't look very strong enough. The roofing should have probably been the last thing to have been done, so that proper measures, because obviously once you're done with the building, you know, you make sure that the top is firmly gripped before you even start roofing, so that there's enough room for you to tighten the holes. So I think the contractor has some questions to be answered. So I'm sure the police would get involved in a situation like this, where criminal negligence can be investigated, because then obviously the negligence of someone causing harm to somebody needs to be investigated as a criminal matter.
All right. So we have a rep from the Ghana Meteorological Agency on the phone with us. Good morning. Hello. Hello. All right, seems like we can't get him right now. Probably some technical problems, but let's just continue the conversation.
Okay, so realize that when rains are falling, we often advise people not to walk in the rains, because when rains fall, just like looking at how the rain could have brought the whole roofing down, a service pole or an electricity pole can easily be brought down. And when it's brought down, if you're not lucky, there might be electricity current running through these cables as they lie on the ground. And you know that water and electricity are not the best of friends. So when the two of them come into contact and you are not aware and you walk into the water, you stand a greater risk of being electrocuted.
Right. So what are some of the precautions people should take, especially when it's raining outside?
When it's raining outside, as I said, avoid walking in the rain. That's the first and most important
Avoid
thing.
walking?
Avoid walking in the rain. You know, and if possible, try and find a shelter. Make sure that the shelter you're finding is not close to a tree, or is not close to even a bridge. Or don't try walking on a bridge. Yes, don't try walking on a bridge.
Why?
Okay, so the bridge, depending, you realize that most of the time the bridge has its its footing, you know, or foundation in some of these waters. And looking at a roof that the
That
rain
can
is
come out.
exactly the same thing can happen. Somewhere last week, our officers at Cape Coast helped rescue quite a number of people at Cape Coast where a bridge caved in,
Right.
and they had to help rescue them and get them from one end of the bridge to the other end of the bridge just last week.
All right.
right.
So I think we have him on the line again. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Okay, you're welcome to Breakfast Daily Weekend.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, we're talking about the rains and some of the safety precautions to take, but can you explain the current weather situation, the current weather patterns and obviously what the season is going to be like in the coming weeks?
Well, I think we are almost in the peak of the rainy season. So those of us along the coast and the middle belt, yes, we should expect rain every 2 or 3 other days. There should be some rain. Those of us in the hilly, mountainous, and forest areas, literally every day there will be heavy rain.
Right. So what general safety measures are we supposed to take during this season?
Yes, I think before the season even started, we issued some weather advisories and things that people need to do. At least for our environment, we need to distill our choke gutters. And at least we need to move out things that are on waterways. And yes, as we were discussing, I could realize that at the Labadi Nungwa Road, yes, roofs were pulled down. Yes, you must be able to make sure that at least your roof is fortified before the rainy season. Because once we have a lot of sunshine and then the weather has also come and tender is coming, then we should expect a lot of strong winds. And when a strong wind comes and your roof is not very firm to take it off, because we don't even have wind breaks along those areas. And when you have wind breaks and then wind coming inside it to take it off. And this is the time that we should also be cautious of waterborne diseases, diarrhea, cholera, and all those things. And yes, we know there's places that normally when it rains, it's flat. So we should just avoid those areas. We should not be commuting to places where when we know that this place will be flooded. And where we are staying to, we know the area. If you are in a flat-grown area, this is the time you need to move out to somewhere. When the rains, by a month time, the rains will come down. Then you can move in. When you hear that it's coming to rain and you are in a flat-grown area, please make sure that at least you raise everything in your room, pack your things very well, so that even when the water enters your room, your service needs to be very safe. We said all those things. Then the drivers too, yes. You see a flash flood, you see a water running, please don't jump into it. You might not know the current or the speed of the water that is passing. If you get to a certain level of the vehicle, it will take the vehicle away. So please, let's avoid all those things. And then I think after the rain is good for us, it's good for our families, it's good for everything. The only thing is, my challenge is, we are making our cities very poor or resilient low, in the sense that, yes, these days, when everybody builds a house, you want to pave the house, you want to put tiles, you want to concrete the floor. You see, when you do that, any rain that comes to your house will run off.
Yeah.
What are our gutters? Our gutters are choked. So if my building, your building, about 200 of us, our buildings, and it's raining, and we tile the houses, and there's nowhere the water can percolate into the soil.
Right.
Then it will come onto the street for us. And then I think we need to at least keep some place in the house green, so that the water can percolate into the soil, and then help our aquifer and our water table also.
Joseph, now what should be my evacuation plan if I find myself in a severely flooded area?
Yes, if you find yourself in a severely flooded area, if you can call, I think the NADO is in charge of those things. They have their 195 system. They have their short code phone. I think the fireman can give us that one. And yes, you can call them to come to your aid. That is the best thing I can say for now. Because when you are in the flood, I don't know how. For them, yes, they have boats and things. Normally, what we do is that we make sure that at least we give NADMO the forecast or the weather warning at least 2 hours before the time of the occurrence. So that when we do that, they know the flood-prone areas. So we are expecting them that when we give that weather warning, they will station their men in those flood-prone areas. So once their men are there, when they see something, they can quickly jump into it and then save the situation.
Right. So how do you actually communicate the weather warnings and updates? Because like a lot of people want to be updated on what the weather is right now. So how do you do that? Where can we reach out to check that?
Oh, we are on all the social medias. We go to our website. That's www.metsu.gov.gh. It's there. Our Twitter handle and then X handle and all those things, we are there.
All right.
I think currently we have about, if anybody who wants the weather can just even go to the office or send your number to us, and then we have over 5,000 people on WhatsApp that we give the weather every day.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
the platform. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joseph Potofi, who is the Deputy Director in charge of forecasting at GMET. Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you.
It's a pleasure for having me.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, so a bit of correction. Do not call NADMO. Call on the Ghana National Fire Service.
Okay.
Great.
NADMO is supposed to be a coordinating agency where they coordinate resources and logistics when we get to an emergency scene. So I think it needs that correction, because then it ends up, you see, when there's disaster and you end up calling on the wrong agency, you're wasting time that could have been used in saving a valuable life.
Right.
So when you call on the Ghana National Fire Service, I think somewhere this week, Caleb could have put up on his page that there was a tree falling somewhere. Quickly, I called our control room to dispatch the team to the airport bypass. Within a few hours, they were able to get the situation under control.
No.
So what's that number?
Note, the call, the call number.
Okay. So our toll-free lines are 112 and 192.
112 and 192.
But due to the prank calls that we often record, we have other direct lines that don't often get that much prank calls. 0302 772 446. I don't know if we tried calling the last time.
Yes, last time we tried
did,
calling.
and
Yes,
it
thank you
went
so
through.
much.
Yes.
You know, so it's a very, and that's the same number I even call. You know, I don't even have a special number that I reach out people on. I call the same 0302 because it's very reliable.
Right.
So you call on the Ghana National Fire Service. So when we get to the scene and realize that the situation is bigger than us, or we are not, because we are not well resourced. I need to say this,
Right.
but just that we have committed officers. We have committed officers who are ready to work hard. So we call on NADMO to help us with logistics that we lack to be able to work.
Yeah.
So if we go and call on them.
Yeah, so it's a whole collaboration.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to ADO 1 Alex King Amnate, who is the Public Relations Department. He works in the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service. And like he said, you can just call on them if there's any problem, especially when it comes to the thunderstorms, the floods, and the rains. Just call on them. Please no prank calls, because we're trying to save lives here. And also, you can follow the Ghana Meteorological Agency on all their social media platforms to be updated on what the weather is.